Our little DY crushed by too many units. Is it happening in your area where there's too many units? Are there too many units? Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning.
Embarrassing start for the day.
We've both had a rocky start to this morning, that's for sure. Let's dive into your morning a little bit, Mark. What just happened?
I was on FaceTime with a mate of mine, and I took the dog down to the toilet, right, to the to do his thing, and the little shit decided to do a number two, and then I had a bag issue pick it up, so I couldn't. So I'm on FaceTime with a mate, finding it pretty amusing, and trying to open up the bag, and it wouldn't work. So then I had to do it with the outside of the bag, and the risk of my hand falling into it, and then then I had to move it, and then it got even worse. I went home and left my car keys next to where the dog did its shit.
So you've left the park with your car keys, house keys, your whole life's worth of keys in the park.
And then I'm like, then you jump in the shower, shave, you get out, like, where are my keys? And I was searching everywhere. Biggest lesson out of today, thank you for Apple AirTags.
AirTags, saving lives.
If you haven't got an Apple AirTag, put one on your keys, and it will save you hours a year.
It's very true, though. You put your keys down, you don't know where they are. It happens to me every single day at work. My keys and my sunglasses, I'm constantly losing them as well.
It's the worst. Think about how many sunnies get lost in a year. Like, must be a fortune.
Yeah. There has to be some kind of little stick-on Apple AirTag device that you can just stick to the sides, not big and gaudy, but just something very small where you can just pinpoint their location.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure. Because I reckon you say. And you had a bit of a petrol mishap this morning.
I did. I got home last night and my car had 14 Ks worth of petrol, which would have been fine to get to work this morning. I had everything mapped out. As soon as I got in my car this morning, the petrol gauge was suddenly down to 0. And I was like, shit, I'm going to run out of petrol on the way to work. I'm already running 10 minutes late. This is so embarrassing. I'm going to miss morning minutes. But luckily, you lost your keys at the same time, so we've both had a delayed start.
And it's happening all around Australia at the moment. Where's my car keys? Oh my God, I got to put petrol in.
No petrol.
They're two common emotions for a morning. But this morning, Xanth, what are we chatting about?
Suburbs crushed by too many units. So with the new complexes popping up around DY in particular, we just thought we might dive into, are there too many units in DY in particular, and what suburbs are also being crushed by units?
And why, and are they really, and is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? It depends who you ask. Like we had today, I guess this sort of theory can apply to most people around Sydney and around the country, because you're often driving through your sub, but you don't really know the metrics, and often you get half-assed opinions that aren't founded by real information. You're sort of having a guess or having a gut feel on it.
Yeah.
Now, if we do wrap into DY, DY is still a really good metric for the country, because DY's got more units than Sydney CBD.
So to lay out though, more residential units. The CBD is very commercial driven, office spaces. It's not so much residential. So yes, the CBD does look like Tower City in the way of big skyrise buildings, but the majority of them are not residential.
So let's use DY because it is. So DY, and being a real estate agent in DY, people are going, man, the suburbs got too many units. I don't want to buy in DY. There's too many units. Even with investors abroad, they're like, nah, man, I don't want DY. Too many units. And I've got data to sort of back that up of when you're analysing a suburb, how to do that. So when you look at fundamentally a suburb and that concept of too many units, you've got to look at how that pays the rate of change in that burb. If that rate of change is 100% double, if it's 200%, 300%, 400% over 10 years, sure, that's a huge rate of change for the area. When you look at our suburb, we're sitting at 9,500 units.
Yep.
The 9,500 units, guess what it was? Like, well, I guess I'll be really short with it. Basically, 9,500 units, we've gone up by 700 units over 45 years.
That doesn't really seem like too many. Over that big of a span, to only have increased by that number isn't too much of a rise, really, over that course of time.
It's not at all. So when you do drive, the problem with this, we call it infill, when you get rid of a house and put a unit block.
Yeah.
When you see that sort of infill, you've got to consider the total amount in the area. Now, most of that infill that we've had in DY has been on the main road. Most of the 200,000 people driving through the northern beaches drive through the main road. So automatically they're programmed to go, shit, there's so many units going into DY. But then when you look at all the veins that go out from the main road, there's no new unit blocks or not many many unit blocks going into the rest of the suburb. It's all on that main road.
And really, the majority of unit blocks in DY aren't skyscraper unit blocks, such as the Meriton, where you've got those 4 towers that are really, really tall. There's so many apartments within that complex. When you look at DY holistically, they are smaller double brick complexes that have up to 18 to 25 units kind of thing. So they're not huge complexes.
Absolutely. Now, there's a theory behind it, guys. If you're trying to work out why people are nailing suburbs for units, the government has to, the infrastructure that's required to start a new suburb, very, very expensive. And what it actually does is it crushes the heart of the entire city. So what starts to happen is, if you look at Sydney as a whole, and if you look at it like a corkscrew, it all sort of started in Sydney CBD, then it went out to sort of further suburbs out, Manly, Bondi, Leichhardt, then it kept corkscrewing out. It
slowly filters through like a ripple.
Very expensive. So once you build new suburbs and you start corkscrewing out of Sydney, you've got even more hospitals on that circular. So when they went out on the first, for instance, Sydney CBD, when they went out on the first circle, they needed 4 hospitals, they needed 4 schools, 4 shopping precincts, 4 transport systems to go into the core.
Yeah.
As soon as you go one rung out, suddenly it's 8 hospitals, 8. So, roads, highways. As you start going further out of Sydney in terms of that further and further out, the infrastructure costs the government an absolute fortune. So to put on 10,000 homes on the outer rings of Sydney is really expensive, because you're putting all that infrastructure. Even more so, what starts to happen is it puts congestion on the artery. So to actually get into the CBD, which people naturally gravitate to, the transport system really suffers. The roads, you can't make the roads wider to service all that traffic that's coming into that city, which then moves over to transport. So it's much cheaper for a government to add 1,000 units to DY, because the transport system's already there, the hospital's already there, the schools are already there, the shopping's already there, and everyone sort of does a little bit better. That's why we're getting nailed by units.
And again, it's not such a bad thing when you do look at it. Most of those big unit blocks are on the main road. All of the infrastructure in DY already exists. It is a little city within itself. You've got all of the shops, the schools, the transport, everything is here in the heart of DY. So realistically, it's not such a bad thing. Could there be an improvement on transport? Probably, but that's got nothing to do with the units themselves.
And look, Xantha, I think at the end of the day, there's some recent media out at the moment that people are talking about the lack. We need 1 million homes to be produced over that sort of long-term period, and it's highly unlikely that's going to be delivered. Like, it's just out of control at the moment.
Yeah.
There's 400,000 people coming into the country a year, and the pipe to deliver this. So I think the lowest hanging fruit, and people sort of have to get used to it, probably even support it, is infill in areas where there's train lines and good infrastructure, and that sort of vertical living. It's just the quickest way to address the rental crisis that we're embarking upon, and the immigration. Unemployment's just the percentage of unemployment is pretty incredible at the moment. I think it's as good as it's been for 50 years. With employment. So we need, we need skilled labour. We need to bring people in. We need homes.
We do need
homes. All in all, what's your take on suburbs crushed by too many units?
I think if you remove the emotion from it all, and you do think about it from a logical point of view, and you're not too attached to anything, we do need more housing, we do need that infrastructure, we do need to keep that population growth, to keep everything thriving. It's a good thing. And as you said, going vertical is the easiest way to produce more housing. It creates a bustling atmosphere, it creates more of a community, and all in all, I do think it's a good thing.
My take, in conclusion, before we go, I think bang on, Xanth, and we've just the infrastructure is as important as the homes that we're adding in. So I think that improvement on infrastructure that our government does like to spend, I think we just need to see that. Even though it hurts to drive those roads for 6 months when there's roadworks all the time. It hurts to drive through your suburb like DY and see another crane, and you think, man, do we really need more sort of more really? But I think in the long term, like if you look at Meriton. When they were building it, it was like, what a shit fight. And Meriton, when it's finished, is like, how good is this? So it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Absolutely. That's what I meant by just remove that emotion and just, deal with the short-term pain. In the end, it will all be worth it.
Absolutely. Suburbs crushed by too many units. That's a take, Xanthi. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mark. Bye.
See you guys. Cheers.